I'm writing a book this year and I'm so excited. So I announced this to my newsletter group a few weeks back, but today I'm going to share the pros and the cons of being a self-publisher. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, but I'm going to share with you where I am currently and the pros and the cons. So I'm writing my debut book as a lifetime writer, but a first time author. And I'm taking the self publishing route. I'm currently in the part of the process where my manuscript is complete, but I'm going through the editing process with the copy editor. And I'm at the very end of that process. And I'm also beginning the stages of working with the designers to design the cover and the interior of the book. So that's the fun part of the book. And that's where I am currently. Also, I just want to preface that this is going to be like a casual video, which is why I'm sitting on the couch. And I do have my notes in front of me here just so I don't forget anything. And I have on this brace because I'm having hand pain from writing so much. I write a lot for my full-time job and I'm writing the book. So I'm having a little bit of wrist pain. So that's why I have the brace on. So my book is planned to launch in early 2025, and it is about my burnout journey through corporate America. So it's part memoir, part guide, and my whole mission with this book is just to help and inspire other women who may have been through career burnout to help them navigate through it to a life of more ease, joy, and balance, and really digging deep about how you even got to this place, how I got to this place, and helping other women identify that and navigate through it. So, like with anything new, and especially when you're being intentional about stepping into something new, there is a lot to learn about the self-publishing process. And although the experience has been extremely nourishing to my spirit and how I wanted to live in the world, there are some pros and cons to the self-publishing process that I've experienced thus far, and I want to share them with you guys, and maybe it can help another first-time author who's going the self-publishing route. So I'm the type of person that if you ask me, hey, Erica, do you want the good news first or the bad news first? I'm going to say, give me the bad news first. Just let's get it out of the way. So with that being said, let's start with the cons first of the self-publishing process. From my experience thus far, I'm going to list the 3 cons of self-publishing. So starting with number 1, there is a lot of research you have to do with self-publishing. There are so many resources out there, both paid and free, but even with all of the resources that we have access to, you don't know what you don't know. So it's kind of scary to step into a new place, especially when you want to put your art into the world in the most aligned and professional way possible. And someone like me who wants to make sure that, all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. So there was a lot of research to go into the self-publishing process, along from who's going to be my distributor, like Amazon KDP or Ingram Sparks, all the way through like your budget, because as a self-publisher, like you're paying for every single part of this process. So I spent a lot of time on researching how much should this cost, how much should that cost, things like if I wanted to use a designer for my cover, if I wanted to use a copy editor, if I wanted to use a proofwriter, a writing coach, like all of these things cost money. And of course, you can do a lot of these things yourself. So it is a personal preference on what things you want to spend money on or what things you want to do yourself. But for me, again, I want to make sure that I'm putting this art that's so personal to me out in a way that is the most professional and the most polished as it could be. So that was con number one. Like, you have to spend a lot of time on researching. So, con number two piggybacks a little bit off con number one. And it's that self publishing can be super expensive. So, as I stated, I spent a lot of time on researching how much things should cost, and the things that I wanted to spend money on. And even with that extensive research, every single element that I created a budget for was more expensive than I budgeted for. I spent money on a writing coach because although I have been writing short stories and nonfiction and fiction since I was a child, this is my first time like writing something that I'm gonna put out into the world and that I want people to really consume and pay for. So I spent money on a writing coach because I wanted to make sure that the book was polished, the story was aligned, the story came together for the reader, and there weren't any gaps that may leave the reader missing out on pertinent information. So I spent money on a writing coach. I also spent money on the copy editor. I spent money on the designer as well. The proofreader is a family friend who does this professionally, so she's going to do it for me for free. But if I had not reached out to her, then I would have had to pay for a proofreader too, just as that extra little, even after the editor goes through it, I still wanted someone to, proofread it before I sent it off to print. And every single part was more expensive than I budgeted for. And then let's not even get into other things that you have to pay for, like ISBN numbers, the copyright registry, and things like that. And while if you're going to self-publish with a distributor like Amazon KDP or Ingram Sparks, there are ways to get free ISBN numbers, but you guys can watch other folks' YouTube videos on that. There's pros and cons to that too, and I wanted to buy my own ISBN number because you have just more freedom with that, and you're not tied to just one platform when you're selling your book. So that's con number two. Self-publishing can be, and for me, was expensive. And con number three is that self-publishing can be very time consuming. At least it was for me. I still work a traditional 9 to 5 in addition to being a creative entrepreneur. And for the last 6 months, I spent every single weekend writing. In addition to doing the research and working with my writing coach, it was extremely time consuming. So from start to finish, and finish meaning my launch date, it will probably take me it'll take me a year to get this book from, inception through launch. Now, comparing it to a traditional publisher, self-publishing is quicker because my writing coach that I work with, she has a background as a literary agent. So she was able to share with me some insight about traditional publishing, if that was something that I wanted to delve into or I was interested in. And in addition to trying to, pitch yourself to a literary agent, and then after getting an agent, then trying to pitch yourself to a publishing company, it can be a 2 or 3 year process. So in comparison to traditional publishing, self-publishing is quicker, but it still takes a long time to, write a book, especially if you want to do it the right way. I did not use one element of AI in anything. I didn't want it anywhere near my book. So it was literally my thoughts, my words, my vision, my metaphors, everything that went into this book. And it took a long time, which I'm happy about. I'm happy about the outcome and what I was able to produce, but it can be a con for someone who may not be used to putting that kind of time and dedication towards something they want to accomplish. Okay, so now that we have the cons out of the way, let's talk about the pros for me of this self-publishing journey. So, pro number one is that this process has been deeply reflective for me, especially with the type of book that I'm writing. It really allowed me to sit and think about and recall memories, not only from my childhood, but during my time of burnout, and just really reflect, like deeply reflect on things and being able to articulate that in a way that the reader will be able to not only digest it, but truly feel it in their spirit. It also helped me reflect on things like just being like caught up in that rat race, trying to, succeed, or, what America tells us success looks like. That was tremendously nourishing to my spirit, just to be able to take the time to deeply reflect, to get it on paper, and then write it in a way that would be receptive to a reader. Pro number two of self-publishing. So although I blew my budget with how much I wanted to spend on this process, every single person that I worked with or hired for this book has been incredible. Not only incredible as professionals in their respective areas, but just as human beings. So from my writing coach, who was instrumental in helping me with that reflective process to like really just dig deep and reflect on my experiences so that I can put them on paper in a way that would resonate with the audience that I'm trying to reach. She was just beautiful in the way that she guided me through that process. Also, with the copy editor that I hired, she's a young woman and she was referred or recommended. So I went into it with an open mind, but at the same time, as a young person, I was a little like just leery because I don't and I didn't want to use AI in any part of the book writing process. So I don't have anything against AI. I'm using it in some of my marketing materials. But as far as the book and the creation of it or the editing, just any part of the book itself, I didn't want AI involved. And this young woman like really edits like the old school way with like printing out the documents, marking it up with her red pen. Like it was like extremely nourishing and aligned with the way that I wanted the book to be edited. She was very intentional with every edit, just a beautiful experience. And as I stated, I'm at the end portion of that experience right now. And then to the marketing agency that I'm working with. So I'm working with a Black-owned marketing agency who has a group of designers to help me create the cover and the interior designs, and just working with the owner and her being able to bring my vision for the book to life has been incredible as well. And again, I'm in the like beginning to a little bit past beginning stages of that process. Just every single person that I've encountered for this book has been incredible and just makes me know more that this is such an aligned process and an aligned piece of work that I know will resonate with my audience. Also, I'm going to drop their information in the description box because if you're interested in going on this self-publishing journey and you need some resources to tap into, I've had the absolute best experience with these group of people. And last but certainly not least is pro number 3 of this self-publishing process is the creative overflow that I've experienced during this process. So I'm about 6 months into the process, and just writing this book has opened up a floodgate of creativity for me. I'm not even really finished with this book, and I already have 2 ideas for 2 future books, along with ideas for things that I want to launch from the book. Like, I just didn't expect for this process to just open up like a creative floodgate for myself. And it's been extremely powerful. It's been extremely aligned. It's been nourishing. And I just can't wait to see what else this creative floodgate allows to come through me from this book. So there you have it, the pros and the cons of the self-publishing journey, or at least mine. I'm super excited to launch this book out into the world and be able to help the women that I'm trying to reach, the women who have experienced burnout, maybe experiencing burnout, trying to prevent burnout, or who've already gone through burnout, but they're still looking for resources because they know that this type of deep reflective work is a lifetime journey, and just helping them understand that there's life beyond burnout. There's a life of joy. There's a life of ease. There's a life of balance outside of burnout. As I continue on this journey, I'll see where it leads me, and if there's other information that I want to make a video about to help other people who may be on this self-publishing journey. In the meantime, I'm always keeping my free newsletter community up to date. So if you want to join to know where I am, or just to keep up to date with the book writing process, or just to indulge in some content around career burnout, embracing joy, embracing ease, and living in balance, join my free newsletter at ericaprevail.com. Link is in the description box. And until next time, bye.